Alright, let me go ahead and tell you I'm obsessed with Meshuggah. I love them. They're my favorite band. They've inspired me to learn music, to learn how to play guitar. I've got into other bands because of them. Bands like Tesseract, bands like not Gojira. I listened to Gojira before Meshuggah. Tesseract, Cloud Kicker, Chimp Spanner, Periphery is not one of my favorites, but they're okay. I like them, and I'm obsessed with them. I have to say it. Like, I need an intervention for Meshuggah. I need a bunch of friends to get together and give me some relief from the obsession that is Meshuggah, because they have ruined music for me in a very positive manner. This album, The Violent Sleep of Reason, is one I'm going to review for you, and it is incredible. I'm going to tell it to you organically, just as the album was produced. And when I say that, I mean there's not going to be any edits, so you're going to get a lot of pauses of me trying to think of how to describe it, because this album is indescribable. But I'm going to try the best I can. It starts off with Clockworks. Now, I'm not going to do a track-by-track review. I'm going to give you certain songs that I think are my favorite from the album. There's 10 songs on the album, and the first one is Clockworks, which they've already put up a video for, so you should have seen it. You probably have seen it. I'm not forcing you to watch Meshuggah yet, but my obsession will come to that. No, it's a really good song. Clockworks starts off with, and the only way I can think of this is like geometrical patterns, the video itself, and the pulsations of the light inside of those geometrical patterns are to the rhythm of the song. This is what I imagine a UFO looks like whenever it's coming to Earth, or if it's in space. There's some out of this world beats in this song. Just imagine being in a pattern of a geometrical tunnel, and it's constantly torpedoing. It's just, it's incredible. The heaviness of this song, it's just crunching. You really want to just move your head. You want to bob your head to it, and then it starts getting heavier and heavier, and then eventually at the end it's more energetic. You will probably want to move around, and when this song is played live, I don't know how people won't transform into pure energy. It is incredible how speedy and how much of a tempo change they go through. It's just very, very heavy. Born in Dissonance was another one that was, it had such a good groovy rhythm to it that you can't help but move your head to it. You can't help but bob your head. The lyrics, they're probably the simplest on the album, but they have a lot of power behind them, just as the song does. That guitar tone is, it's monstrous, especially on Monstrosity. I don't know if I said that correctly, but I said it how it's spelled. Monstrosity. Yeah, we'll go ahead and say that. Great song. There's a part in it at 38 seconds. I've got that thing remembered. That is just, it makes you want to fly into space and fight whatever alien monster there is there. It's huge and crunching at the same time, just like Clockworks. Damn these texts. There's the other song that is on the album was a single. Yeah, it was a single. Nostra. That's a great song as well. It took me a little bit to get into that one. It took me a while to get into that. It was heavy. That's whenever I play that in my car, my whole car just vibrates. The tone of this album is one of the heaviest tones I've ever heard the band produce. Obscene had a very heavy tone as well. And I didn't care much for Colossus, the way Colossus sounded. Colossus sounded, I don't know how to describe it, but it just did not sound as, I can't go into a bunch of music terms to describe. I see on YouTube people comment, oh, this is so compressed, blah, blah, blah. And if you're a musical engineer, yeah, you know, it's understandable, but I'm not. So I'm going to tell you how I think it is. What it sounds like, if it's good or if it's bad. I'm going to use some pretty vague descriptions. But for Colossus, I was not impressed with its sound. I loved the album. There's certain songs on there that have the same kind of tempo as Nostrum, and especially songs like Ivory Tower. It's very, very stoner sounding. Behind the Sun from Colossus has the same kind of tempo, I feel like, as Ivory Tower. It's kind of a sludgy, creeping sound, which is awesome. I love the slower songs that Meshuggah produces, just as much as I love their faster ones. The Violent Sleep of Reason, the title track from this album, from The Violent Sleep of Reason, was one of the hardest songs for me to get into. I'm still trying to get into it because I'm going to continue to listen to this song and this album for the next few weeks. It's so chaotic that it's hard for me to wrap my mind around. It's just it's very complex, is the very frequent term that describes this band. It is so complex. I don't know whether to headbang, to pull out a calculator and start, trying to figure out how to do this, or what. But it's a good song. Don't get me wrong. There are parts in it I can actually pick out and understand and grasp. But gosh, at the beginning, this is one that I can't describe for you. You just have to listen to it, take into mind how you feel about it. Because I do like it. I like every song on this album. There's a particular song on here that is also interesting. I'm pretty much going through all the damn tracks. Like I said I wouldn't, but I am. Stifled. At the end of Stifled, it almost has people describe Blade Runner, but I think of Michael McCann from the Deus Ex game series, the newer one, Mankind Divided, and Human Revelations kind of shared the same theme. Michael McCann was the score. He was the score composer for these games. And there's a song, or at the end of Stifled, there's an ambient soundscape that sounds like something he would produce, almost synthwave-esque, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. Meshuggah is like a monster that picked a flower for you and gave you a flower through all the rubble that they've just waddled through. That's the only way I can describe that soundscape. In general, for this album, it is, I have to say, probably one of my favorites from them. I really enjoy all of their albums a lot. I love everything about their albums, even to their early thrash days. Probably one of my favorites from them is I, and there are parts in this album that give me an I feeling. I get that vibe that they have, especially off of the title track, The Violent Sleep of Reason. That's why I like it so much. So yeah, the general review for this album is, if you like Meshuggah, you will like this album. If you love Meshuggah, you're going to love this album. It may even take a few people who don't even enjoy Meshuggah, and they'll end up liking this album. It's something that you should definitely give a listen to if you're a metal fan or you just like math. It's a good album. Give it a listen.